Hi everyone, welcome back to the AFROmind Podcast, episode 10. We've arrived, Alice. We've reached episode 10. Yes. Thanks to
No hard
everyone
work.
who has rocked with us up until this last episode. After this episode, we will take a break and
Mm-hmm.
then re-strategize,
Yeah.
rest, and then come back with season two. So thanks again, everyone. So today, for the last episode, we thought we would do the trending topics in our community. Because it's always a nice opportunity to speak about some of the mental health concepts and the way we hope people would think about mental health things,
Mm-hmm.
but using quote unquote real life situations as a baseline, as a way to have those conversations, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let's jump straight into it. Alice, I think we can start with Nana Agrada's issue, right? So for those who are not familiar with it, Agraada is somebody who spends time on social media, so a lot of people even use her sounds for content. She's funny and stuff like that, but she also has a history of having, at this point, do we say allegedly, or having defrauded people. And so she's finally been found guilty and been sentenced to 15 years in prison. And some people are saying that's harsh, because Agrada is our person. She's funny, who's going to make us laugh, etc. And it's too much, and stuff like that. So any thoughts about so far, the Agrada conversation and, the
Um, hmm. I have what I sent. I have what I sent to the group chat, and I have what I'm going to
You can't say what you said to the group chat here.
say.
Oh, feel free, feel free, feel free.
So, to me, I think, I mean, when these things happen, right, it is
Mhm.
to set a precedent
First,
for
yeah.
other people, right, as a deterrent for other people. So, like, it's the law. I mean, she had a trial, she had a judge, she had lawyers,
Hmm.
a case was brought, so we can say she had her day in court.
Yeah. So they went through the process.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Hmm.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the outcome. Now, whether it's I think based on what I heard, and I get my news from Gossip 24, very
Clement.
legit
Hmm. Yeah.
source. Okay, Clement
Hmm.
is legit. So I think it was between a day. The sentence was between a day and some years, right? And so the judge chose
The
within that.
maximum
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
close to,
To
yeah.
give it, yeah, yeah. Now, whether it was harsh or I think we don't have the whole transcript, right? To know the detail of everything that went on in court.
Hmm.
That we are not privy to that.
Right, right. Hmm.
I don't know in Ghana if that is made public.
Public. I think it depends on the issue. Some cases,
Yeah.
yeah, the transcripts are public. Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know when the transcript is going to come out. We don't know, but it's been ongoing from I think 2021 or 2022.
True.
So it
Yeah.
has been an extensive amount of time for the case to go on, for everybody to plead. So probably they called witnesses, people
Hmm.
came, an investigation was done, um, or charges were brought, that kind of thing. So um yeah, so she had her day in court. I mean,
Hmm.
now there's still they can still appeal.
Appeal. Hmm.
Yes, they they can still appeal. She still has her lawyers. They can still appeal. So
Hmm.
I think there is a lot that we don't know, but there is a lot that we don't know, right? And for the victims, this is a big deal for them, right? This is whatever reason that they used or however it impacted them, that is a
Hmm.
big, right? And so
Yeah.
that's why I want to be very careful with what I say, because there are people who are really, whose lives have been really impacted
Impacted by
by
what
her
she did. Yeah.
action,
Hmm.
right? By her action. So um yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, it doesn't hurt for us to recognize that two things can be true at the same time, right?
Hmm.
You are allowed to feel like, oh man, this is somebody that I liked for their comedy and whatever it is that they do on social
Oh
media,
yeah.
but
I
also they committed a crime. Yeah.
I love Agraada, right? As a
Mhm.
woman, right? I love her confidence, right?
Yeah.
I
There's
love
some bravado about her. Yeah.
yes, I love her fierceness. I love
Mhm.
how like one thing that I loved about her is how she and her husband um broke up. And within like a week or month, this woman bounced back
Mhm.
with a new man. Like, and she was telling the young people, don't be crying over a man for that long. Like, move
Mhm.
on. And I was like, yes, like,
Mhm.
and I always say I support women's rights
Right.
and women's wrong. And in the space that she was in, right? Like this whole religious space is often occupied by
But
men.
man.
And for a woman to go and be in that space and like to hold her own in that space in the midst of men, for me, there are aspects of her that I really, really, really admire. Like some of her
Yeah.
attributes, some of her
Mhm.
characters that as a woman, like my sister texts me, she was asking me how I am doing. I have been a fan of Agraada for a long time. I mean, I don't show
Mhm.
it on social media, but
Mhm.
my people close to me know that she's my person, right? One
Mhm.
of my friends, I was talking to her, she was like, the moment you step feet in Ghana, we have to take you to Partey Hospital because the way this thing is affecting you,
Mhm.
it's not good. But like I said, there are also victims, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who have been
Mhm.
impacted. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a tough situation. But hopefully, and I mean, we don't know the transcripts too, so I don't know if the people who have been affected would get any financial compensation, like they would get their money
Yeah.
back in any way.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
we hope for all of that to be sorted out. But for the people who are upset and feeling like it's harsh, again, remember that there are other people's, who have been legitimately affected by these things. And maybe it is, to be honest. I don't know.
Hmm.
But two things can be
Hmm.
true. Two things can be true at the same time. You can actually love
Yeah.
someone and yes, they committed a crime and that's the
Exactly. Right.
punishment for it. And you're still allowed to support them and pray for them as they're in jail. Right? No, because I mean sometimes people have this idea that, if you like somebody and they do something wrong, that
Hmm.
you have to separate yourself from them, right? You can
Oh,
acknowledge that,
yeah.
yeah, the person did wrong, but they're still my
Hmm.
person, and I'm going to pray for them. I'm going to provide any moral support that
Yeah.
I can for them so
Hmm.
that they can keep it together and serve their time,
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we are in shock. I mean, we are grieving. I mean, life
Hmm.
isn't going to be the same, but Agatha is a strong woman.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah, she'll be okay. She'll serve her
Hmm.
time, and hopefully the people who have been affected also get
Yeah,
some
hopefully.
peace of mind as well
Yeah,
from all of this. Yeah.
hopefully they do get some sort of compensation, and it's not
Hmm.
just putting her in prison. And
Hmm.
what is that going to do for
Yeah.
them?
Not a
Sometimes
whole
that's
lot. Yeah.
yeah, that's my issue with the legal system that putting people away, what does it do if somebody have really lost their money, if it has impacted them in different kind of ways, then
Okay.
what is going to happen with that?
Right. Now, the next story is about Thomas Partey and the accusations of, sexual assault and rape against her, right? I mean,
Hmm.
against him.
Hmm.
I was actually on a live this morning, and while I mean, of course, it's all very new, so we are not going to speak on, or we can't speak on any outcome or anything like that. But the
Yeah.
conversation that I wanted to touch base with, I wanted for us to talk about is there are so many people, especially men, who have quickly moved to these Oyibo people, they want to destroy our black men, their target, effectively suggesting that it's lies. Like Partey is being lied on with these accusations, and black men are targets, and the moment we're successful, they want to bring us down, etc. And so before I go on my rant, what are your thoughts on all of these conversations?
So, like, as a Black woman, right, I am
Mhm.
slowly detaching myself from issues that pertain to Black men, right?
Mm.
And um, I know this is like a very harsh way to put it, but I am slowly detaching myself from issues that pertain to um, Black men when it comes to Black men's wellness, their well-being, anything that has to do with them. I am, but I know I cannot detach myself from it. And there are so many reasons. Number one, and this is also specifically like a Ghanaian man. Number one, I have come to realize that there are actually some men who don't care about Ghanaian women or Black women. They don't care, right? Um, they can be very rude, they can be very crude in their dealings, and they don't care, right? And also there is a very specific kind of a Ghanaian or a Black man who gets money and goes after white women, you know, and does that. It's a very, they have a not all of them, but even though it's a small percentage of them, they have a specific mindset. And so for me, I am slowly like, okay, the people that I want to focus on are young Black women, young Ghanaian women. They are the people that I care about. And they are when issues pertain to them, they are the ones that I'm going to talk about. That's another topic for another day. Um, the other thing in our Ghanaian community is that from the snippet of anecdotal information on social media that I have gotten, some of them know how to treat Ghanaian women and know how to treat non Ghanaian women, right? Some of them have explicitly said on social media that this is what we can do to Ghanaian women. They
And
will
get
not,
away with it.
yes. For Nigerian women, we saw one with a Nigerian woman or a Black woman. And this is what we can now do to non Ghanaian or non Black women because for them, they would report us. That goes back to my first thing where I'm like, I'm slowly moving away or detaching myself from them because it's difficult to hear these things and then to talk about them. And especially this week, we have, we got, there was the
Verdict
verdict
for Diddy. Yeah.
Diddy's trial, and we saw how some very high profile men have um, responded to it. The whole trial, we saw how high profile men responded to it. Um, we have seen instances of R. Kelly, we have seen instances of Bill Cosby, where now people still dance to R. Kelly's music. They still like he has that. People still see him as a hero. People still see him as this legend, right? Because majority of what he did was to Black girls. If it was to other people, it would have been a different story. And the same with Didi, how people are celebrating. You can never bring a Black man down. All of those things. So this conversation is very very complex and very layered. That for me nowadays, when those things happen, I just watch people's responses and I just block people. That's all that I do. I watch. I watch.
You block people, pal. You have a lot of numbers to block,
Oh,
and
oh
that's
yeah,
okay.
I've blocked a whole bunch of people. Nowadays, my FYP is looking very how I want it to be,
Yeah.
and it's again like we said, right? I think some men, right? Either the gender that's supposed to be rational, either they are leaving their rational thoughts somewhere else when it comes to other things, or they are lying to us when they say they are rational. Because like the mental gymnastics for them to do, we have seen how this whole Didi's trial went. So I don't know if some of them are intentionally being obtuse or they are actually not that smart to know that to bring a sexual assault case to for even to get it to where there is a trial, where there is going to be a court, this thing.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, I go to the police, I report, and all
Mm.
of a sudden within 2 days or 3 days there is
Right?
a
Because
trial.
in the US, the average woman has to report a crime 7 times before
Yeah.
it's moved on to
Then
the
there is
next
an
step.
investigation, yes, and
Hmm.
then they will decide, are charges going to be brought against this person or not? And then if there are charges, sometimes they have to further investigation, then there have to be a grand jury indictment for the charges. Like there is a whole process. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. Maybe they are pretending to be smart and they are not smart, but it's not
I,
like
I, I'll give them the mental gymnastics. I'll say they're doing mental
it
gymnastics.
doesn't happen like within 24 hours. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen the moment a woman steps foot in a police station and they're like, okay, we believe you.
Yeah, no,
That's
the
not
the the
that's
this,
not how
the,
it
the
is.
data says that more times than not, they actually not believed. Yeah,
Yes, majority of cases do not go even to trial. Majority of cases are not even reported.
reported. Yeah,
Majority of cases, when they are reported, they will tell you, we can't charge this case, or there is not enough
there's not enough
information.
evidence for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or this feels like boyfriend girlfriend issue, go sort it
Hmm.
out.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
It's not that easy. So I don't
yeah.
know.
And for me, the part that I struggle with is this one. And I was reading the data to some of the folks on there. That's roughly 25 to 35% of these cases is what gets reported, right? So a good 65 to
Mhm.
75% don't even get reported at all. And then the numbers when it comes
Mhm.
to false reports are somewhere between four
It's
and
less than
six, four and six
5%.
percent, and
Yeah.
really, it's it comes out to about 2% because in those 4 to 6%, they are still putting in the people who drop the cases, right? So
Yeah.
there's like, or if they don't find evidence and they call it unfounded, some people,
Mhm.
you know, merge that into false, but the ones that are like really found to be like good old lies, it's less than like just about 2%. So the fact that 60 to 75% are not reported to begin with, and
Mhm.
the number that I reported, roughly about 2%, is what is often false. For that to
Mhm.
be your main conversation when you hear a
Mhm.
story like this,
Mhm.
for me, feels disingenuous. It's like, really, you hear a story like this, and the first thought is effectively going for the 2%,
Oh, yeah.
right? We again, it hasn't gone to where it needs to go to, so I'm not sitting here saying, I know Partey did it. But I'm also not
Yeah.
going to sit
Because
here
if
and
you don't,
say,
yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say somebody's, lying because I don't know that either.
Mhm.
And I think what I can say or advise all of us as young people is don't don't worry about who is going to lie against you. Like people say things like, well, these days if you go and sleep with somebody and you do A, B, or C, the next time they are calling that it's rape, right? As though you don't have a choice in the matter. Close your zip. You understand? A little sexual discipline and a lot of these conversations is moot. Because now, I mean, granted, can somebody put you, they haven't even met you before, you haven't been in an uncompromising situation with them. Can somebody theoretically accuse you of assaulting them? Maybe. Technically, I guess that's technically true. Somebody can mention your name out of air that this person
Oh, yeah.
has raped me. That's theoretically possible. But
And you can take them to court. You can also
exactly,
report them.
and but even what are the chances of that? So typically it's when it's whether it be the one night stand or you put yourself in certain situations. 'Cause- so I think the people who are saying that black men are targets, like if we are targets, which I mean, given the racism and all of that, it's
We
possible, but we make ourselves such easy targets.
is
And
that
that's
a conversation that we want to have though?
no, actually no, we don't. Right? Because many of
A
these people.
conversation
Mhm.
that we want to have, right? I think the thing is, when it comes to black men, Ghanaian men, African men, if we want to talk about societal situations, equity, equality, we have to bring in intersectionality. And the moment we bring in intersectionality, you lose them
Yeah.
because they want it to be one way. They want it to be their struggle, their oppression. When you talk about racism and enslavement and colonization, they get it, right?
The
They
moment you bring
get it. Now,
sexism, you lose them.
the moment you bring intersectionality and other layers into it, all of a sudden you lose them. You lose the rational, logical gender that we have. We lose them in that aspect. So you don't want to have that conversation. The moment you bring in patriarchy, they will start crying. The moment you bring in misogyny, they will start like they. So it's like we don't want to have that conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we are not going to have that conversation, like they it's my worst. Yes, okay. It's like we are not going to get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because some of these men are failing to see that if we are even going to reduce childhood sexual assault among boys, we have to start with girls. Like, if we are going to reduce some of these things, we have to really start with the people who are the most marginalized. When we rectify it, when we dismantle patriarchies, when we are going to men are going to have their liberation. We are going to
Mm-hmm.
talk about men's mental health. We are going to talk about childhood sexual assault among men. We are even going to deal with this false reporting that they cry about so much, but they don't want to, right? And so they're always going to quote backyard research.
Yeah, it's always it's weird to me because the construct of racism, the main constructs are the same: power,
Mhm.
privilege, oppression. If you bring it to sexism, it's the same. If you bring all of the isms, the constructs are the same. It's all about power and privilege and oppression and control. So if you're somebody who understands the racism and the dynamics of all of that and the nuances in racism, but when the minute we bring sexism, you're like, oh no, that doesn't exist or that's not real. Or, oh, some people say things like, well, you can't say Ghana is sexist. Our vice president is a woman. Like, really? So
Yeah,
you in the US, racism doesn't exist because we've had a black president? Like,
yeah,
it's some again, like I get sometimes the conversations, especially on the broader scale, it gets very tiring, to be honest.
yeah.
I would on any day rather kind of chat with somebody who's open one on one, or maybe some five people who are legitimately interested in learning from each other, than the broader, be on live and people are writing this in the comment section because you lose. I don't know. It gets very very tiring. But
We
for
don't
the
learn anything.
yeah, but for the people who are on our platforms, and especially if you're watching our podcast today, you have a choice in the matter. Especially if you're a young man, it's not as if, like, assuming without admitting that women are consistently reporting falsehoods, right? You have a choice in the matter. If you are not engaging with these people, these supposed people who are going to falsely accuse you of something, if they put it on you, you go to court, you can't sue, the law will take its course. And granted, sometimes by the time the issue is done, maybe your reputation is soiled, right? But when the law clears you, you will
Mhm.
find your way back out. Like this community, people keep mentioning things like cancel culture, cancel culture. The reality on the ground,
It
oh,
doesn't
you
exist.
bounce back. Many of these people that we have supposedly cancelled, they bounce back.
It doesn't exist for you.
Yeah, many of these people have bounced back. So just work on
And
your own discipline, and yeah.
this may be harsh, but I don't understand why and how poor men are worried about rich men. Like,
Yeah, and they'll bring the lab that I was on today. All of the examples that people made about false accusations were to footballers and the stars and stuff like. They'll mention Mason Greenwood, they'll mention Hakimi, they'll mention Benjamin Mendy. I'm like, I
what?
don't have the data on those people, but the
Don't you have
data
the
on
problem?
regular us, it's not that the numbers you are mentioning don't fit with regular people, you know. Like many of you have assaulted your partners, your wives, but because they are
They
your
haven't
wives,
reported you.
they are not reporting you because in our culture, in some way, somehow, if you hear marital rape now, it's like, what are you saying? The person that I have married and I paid bride price, you're telling me that I raped her or whatever it is, you know. So it's a very, very tough conversation to have. Sometimes it feels like you are hitting wall. Like at a
You are.
point, I just stop having them, you know. But for the people who will listen, you have a choice in the matter, you know, work on your own self-control. If you ask somebody out, I'm not suggesting that if you see a girl you like, don't ask them out or don't make an advance. But if you go talk to a girl and they say no, don't
Yeah.
push, and then if they accuse you of assault, sexual harassment, you are saying, it's our culture. If a woman says no, you try small, and you're making it sound like they are targeting you. All you have to do is respect their autonomy. And so when they say, no, I'm not interested, you walk
You
away,
respect. Yeah. Right.
right?
There are
Because
some.
in that situation, if the person takes you to the police and say, this guy came to ask me out, it's like, okay, where's the harassment, right? You know, now if this guy came to ask me out, I said no. When I got to my house, he was there waiting for me. Now that's the problem.
Now that's a problem, right?
And
That's even
you can't
stronger.
put that on culture.
Yeah.
Say our culture, blah 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 blah. If we did that 10 years ago and got away with it, it doesn't mean it was right then and
No,
it's not
no,
right now.
no, no, no.
You
I
know,
think like, and that's why I said we don't want to have the conversation, because when you talk about consent, people get upset, right? When you talk about respecting people's autonomy, they get upset. When you talk women are people, they get upset. So it's like that the privilege that is like, okay, you are restricting me now, consent. Now I have to, when you say no, I have to respect you, right? Like if somebody, it like if you are unsure, it means no. If you yourself
the
you are unsure,
the most ridiculous part to me is when people will say things like, "Well, she came all the way to my house." It's like,
how is
okay,
that consent? How is that yes?
how's that anything? Like she came to my house, she knew what she was doing. What was she doing when she met him at a hotel? It's like, okay, like I can meet you at a hotel with a plan for something. If something changes and I don't want to do it anymore, it doesn't mean
Even in the middle of the act,
if I say stop.
if I'm like I've changed my mind, I don't want to. Of course, it's an inconvenience to,
Mhm.
and men will come up with some blue balls. Well, the other day I checked and blue balls doesn't exist.
It
So they
does.
will,
It does exist. It's legit. But but would I go to jail because I don't want to get blue balls? I don't think so.
but they will, so and they will, now there's another data where they say it's related to prostate cancer, da 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 da, and da 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 da. So they will always find data. But I
It's
think consent is very important. And the
yeah,
other day, somebody said something that stuck with me. They said you cannot be framed if you are not in the picture. So you
deep,
cannot be
deep.
framed if you are not in the picture,
Yeah,
right? And so all these people that we are like, oh, they are being framed. Yes, they could. Yes, your political, especially when it comes to politician, your political opponent can frame you, but they also know what you like, and they they know the things that you do, so they will
mm,
know, oh, this guy is grabby, go, you will get him, wear a wire, or put get this
mm,
on video because this is what this person does. So
mm.
you are already in the picture for us to zoom in on you and frame
From
you.
you. Yeah,
So again, I think just let's all of us take this. You cannot be framed if you are not in the
in
picture.
picture. Yeah, and honestly, if we are being honest with ourselves and we say Yambudia, like everybody, you
Oh,
know, let's Yambudia say before if you are saying people have been lying now, and we lay down all of the things that are assault, disrespected consent, rape, sexual harassment, and all of that. If you can put your hand like this and say, I have never done that to any woman before, you understand? Many of you, the thing you do, you understand, but you don't want consequences from it. And
Yeah.
so any issue or any case that kind of shines that light on you, it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
no, 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 this is not true. Because instead of doing the work to say, you know what, I have to do better, we all have to do better, we always turn it back to, yeah, as a man, if you wear a certain outfit, you can't then come and blame me for what happens. Like, how old are you? Now on the live this morning, I was saying it's very frustrating because sometimes the way we talk about ourselves as men make us sound like
It's
kids.
a shame. It's a shame.
Make us sound like we are 5 year olds. Like what do you mean by two baba? What do you mean by men are wired to not be with one woman? I mean, he has apologized for it, whether the apology is real or whatever it is. I'm not going to go into that one, but it's a conversation that many people have been saying, right? So I guess a nice segue,
Mm-hmm.
and I've made a video about it that when you keep saying men are not wired to be this, men are not wired to be this, it's like what they quite like. What's your point? Because the way you are wired only speaks to what maybe comes easily to you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So assuming without admitting that, in fact, men are wired to not want to be with one woman, right? Assuming without admitting that that's true. And
Okay.
so, because you still have a choice in the matter, you still have
Yeah.
you're an adult, you still have self-control, you still have discipline, you still have responsibility. You've taken somebody to the altar to go and say, "I will be with you in a monogamous relationship." But the person
Nobody
is
forced them.
depending. The person is depending on you to keep that promise, and you say, "I'm wired to be so and so." So forget all of this thing, and I'm gonna go do nonsense because that's how I'm wired. Like how old are you? Akoko nyini, like it's a cock that, depending on how it's wired, if it sees hens, it just runs after it because it's wired that way and it has no self-control. But if you are a grown man and you're talking about yourself that way, I can't understand it for you.
Yeah.
You understand? I get it, we're human, so things happen. But I feel like if you cheat on your relationship or whatever it is, apologize and commit to doing better. And stop all of the I'm wired, because your wiring. Hedgemanu wrote under my post, who did this wiring? Like which electrician did this wiring? Like your wiring is neither here nor there.
Mom.
Hmm. Your wiring is neither here nor there. Anyway, all right. So that's it for that one. Let me see the next one. Before we talk about Kwesi and Presidoo's issue, we use that for the last one. We can touch on Kwesi Arthur's um issue. I think that probably was the week before, right? So yeah, I think that one's been going on. That one went on for a minute there.
Your time is
Hmm. So for the people who don't know, Kwesi Arthur made a couple videos. What's the word that I'm
doing
looking for?
food
Reviewing some matches, or
yeah.
some colladas that he had drank, and people came into the comment section saying, "Bro will do everything except give us music," and suggesting that he is now almost like soft, and they missed the Kwesi Arthur, who was a hard rapper, shirtless, and stuff like that. That he should go back to that, effectively coming for him. And Kwesi came to blast them, said like, dude, in fact, I think the main point that I heard from Kwesi's rant is, I've suffered enough.
Yeah.
Let me live my life. You
Mm.
know, I don't glorify suffering. Some people were saying they wish Kwesi was broke, so he will make that almost the music that comes from a place of a broke person. So it's like I'm no, I don't want that. I don't want suffering, and you cannot tell me what to do. I'm going to live my life, and I'm going to be making more of these videos.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, for me, props to Kwesi. Because for me, one of the biggest flexes as a man is being the man the way you want to be a man, not letting people tell you how a
Yeah.
man should behave, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, let me throw it to you first. Any thoughts, any comments on that brouhaha?
I think Ghanaians are so disrespectful. Right? Some of
Mm-hmm.
them, let me say some of them. I always say they will stain your white and put sand in it right now. Because
Mhm.
you can be the most, you will say, oh, maybe I'm going on social media. I won't talk. I want to be very nice. I want to be very demure, very mindful. These people will bring the worst in you one day
Yeah.
because the way they behave, they will they will let you descend into the gutter with them. And that's what that's what they did. Because how is it wrong for him to drink matcha? I mean, I love matcha. Why? Like, what is even soft about matcha? Like, or bubble tea? Like, he was just sitting in his car drinking and giving his thoughts, right? And also, we don't even know if he was paid, if we don't even know. But let's just say the guy is going about his day and he's like, oh, let me get a cup of matcha, right? I have social media. Let me post it so that people, maybe let me introduce new things to people so that they will know, oh, matcha is there and all of that. Then all of a sudden, it's like he has changed.
And if he has, that's okay.
What's wrong with it?
Yeah, if he has changed, that's okay. Because people are allowed to grow, and people are allowed to outgrow you. If you feel like the person you're following has outgrown you, or you no longer share values, just hit the unfollow button.
Go find a new person.
Who fits more with your thing? Because
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons why sometimes people say things like Ghanaians will lift you up until you get to a certain point,
yeah.
and then at that point, I guess they want to bring you down. I'm crossing my fingers that it's not true. I don't want to believe it, but sometimes they give me examples of it. Because those of you, if you supported Quesi all through his music career, shouldn't you be happy for him that he's now at a point where he doesn't have to do hustle music?
He's worked, made, but I mean, I don't understand. So where is the correlation that now I don't know, he's soft or he has like, so before he was hard
He was a hard rapper. Yeah, you would be rapping
and
shit.
now
He'd be rapping shirtless, and now he's out here making food reviews. And
like
and the
spending
food
time
and the
with
food
his
is and the food is
so
not fufu and palm nut soup or mutu. It's
Gary or
matcha and bobo tea. Yeah, it's not kivo. It's not kivo guy. See, every day makes me believe more when people say things like, many of us were not raised to be men, we were raised to not be women, right? Because I think in many cases, when people have seen those drinks, they've seen women drinking it, so they've associated it with it being feminine, right? So if you do anything that they have associated with femininity, then that means you are soft, you are acting feminine. And I feel like that's where a lot of the issue is. Like Kwesi is now acting feminine. We live in a society where we have curated anything that remotely looks like comfort to femininity, and then we will come and complain that men, we are suffering, like we are tiring, like we are martyring ourselves. Yeah, we are martyring our own self and then complaining about it. Yeah, no. But then we'll come and complain and say,
we are hearing about the silence too much. I think they like it. The silence is very loud.
oh
It's not
yeah,
silent
yeah.
at all.
hmm It's
Your kind of silence, the men's silence is not silent too. It's very loud. We are suffering in silence. We are suffering in silence. We are suffering in silence. We are
there
suffering.
there
You
are
see,
calm down.
hey,
There are some people who are suffering in silence, but I think that the numbers wise, it's small. And
the
also,
silence is loud. It's
when I
loud.
last, I think when I was on the live with Lady Brina, I told, what was it with Snow? Like, we are suffering in silence, honestly, because it's easier, right?
Mhm.
Because really, nothing stops you from being expressive. Society has told you so and so, but it's we make the society, right? Now, if you consistently decide that instead of being more open, asking for help,
Mhm.
building, closer relationships with each other, you'd rather hold it all in. I put it to you that it's because that is easier. It's what you know, and you're not willing to branch out.
Change. Yeah.
So if you are not willing to change because the options are there and everybody
Mhm.
has access to them, It could be talking to your friends, could be talking to your family members, could be talking to your partners, could be talking to a therapist, or sometimes it could be recognizing
Just
your
take a day off,
exactly
right?
recognizing your own internal
Go.
struggles. Go to the gym, go and punch the bags, but it's with the the
Maybe you like
idea.
maybe you like matcha or bubble tea. Go
Go
get
and
it.
go and get it and review it if that's what you need to do.
Yeah. Go for a walk. Like go do something. Brush your teeth, cut your fingernails, go get a pedicure, take a bath, wash your ass. Like there are so many things on the spectrum that
Mm-hmm.
you could do, right? Go do
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
Go for a massage, go for a facial if you can afford it. Like you are in Ghana, go sit by the beach and
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the breeze.
Yeah.
Go do it. Like life is there. Go do it.
Mm-hmm. It grinds my gears when, especially those of us in diaspora, a man swears that, I'm the man of the house. I'm going to go to work as a wife, you know, don't go to work, stay home. And then will come and complain that he's having to do 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs. Like, help your wife build herself up, and you don't have to do 3 jobs. Monche. Like, because the variety can actually be nice and kind to your body too. And then you get to be a present father, right? Because I mean, technically, I guess in our house, I could get a second job and work roughly 80 hours a week, and then Laurentia becomes a stay-at-home parent all the time. But then both of us will be resentful because I will be tired as hell having to go to work 80 hours a day and not having time with my kids and with my family. And then she would also be resentful because the whole time she's the one that is around these kids 24/7, taking all their crying and their yelling and all of that, and having to take care of all of the domestic chores. Now both of us are resentful. When a little bit of balance will give us the variety that we both need to do well. But as for you, you say in our culture, a woman is supposed to stay home. So you have 2, 3, 4 jobs. 2, 3, 4 jobs to two. If they say go to school or build on your capacity, you won't go. So the 2 to 3 jobs, it's all at entry point jobs. And every day you are tired and you say you are suffering in silence. You understand? I mean,
It's a lot, right? And like some men won't do it. Like I was on the live one day, somebody was talking about, oh, we don't want to empower the women. We should take the power away from them. Like, well, so such a person, maybe they wouldn't allow their wife or their partner to go to school because they feel like, oh, if a woman goes to school, they are going to be empowered and whatever. I don't even know what that means. So it's I don't know. That's why I think maybe like
heaven one day could do her a baby butu 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 butu. Because there are so many people who their wives could be like, for somebody's wife is the one that has a cure to cancer, but
yeah,
their husband has
sit on their
on their destiny because our culture says. But there are some people who are so smart. Like maybe when we were in school with them, they were very very smart and they could go places.
because
But
of marriage.
her husband says, "Oh, now of school the other day, stay home. Let me go to work." And excuse my language, maybe you don't have that much bookhead, right? So you work 3 jobs to bring home money that if your wife went to school to get a career, it would take her 40 hours to bring home that same job,
And
right?
sometimes she may work only 10 hours and she'll bring you money.
But you are sitting on your wife's destiny. One of my closest friends, Ibo, of their business is Hetty's Bake Shop. Hetty is talented at cake, cake bakery and all of that. Ibo, effectively put his own job. He quit his job so they can concentrate on the bake shop. And for about a year or so, when Ibo didn't have any side jobs, they built this bake shop. And right now, they are thriving, right, on Hetty's talent. You understand? But somebody is sitting there saying if the woman gets anything, when the women become a certain level, they are disrespectful. One of the things that annoy me is the marriage will not be by force. If you honestly, in your heart of hearts, believe that when women marry and when women get to a certain level, they are disrespectful, don't go and marry anybody's child and sit on their destiny because it no be by force. Just day somewhere. You go and marry somebody's child and throw their life away because when you've heard that when women get to a certain point, they are disrespectful. Anyway, last one before we go. So the last one, since you haven't seen the video, I'll give you the background to it. So Kwesi Official and Presidoo, apparently they have been dating because I've watched two videos. I've watched Presidoo's interview with Zion Felix, and then the two of them, their interview with Delay. So apparently they've been dating for about 6 months or so. They knew each other on TikTok a little bit before they started dating. They've been dating for about 6 months, and Quincy broke up with Presidoo because he says Presidoo doesn't listen and she nags too much. According to Quincy, he is a content creator, so he does things with people, including women, and Presidoo keeps complaining that you are doing too much. Why are you hugging this woman so tightly? Why are you this close? Why do you have your hand on this woman's buttocks? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Because he says everything that he does, Ako complains. And when he talks to Ako to stop doing that, Ako doesn't listen. And so they broke up. They broke up some 3 weeks ago. Kwesi said he can't do this again, so they broke up. So I think they had been invited to Delay's show maybe before they actually broke up. And for some reason, they still went to the interview.
Okay.
The minute I saw the interview, I said, "Oh, this feels like a recipe for disaster."
Okay.
From where I sat, the interview didn't do Presidoo any favors because it made her come across as a childish person who doesn't understand social media, because Kwesi made an example that when he met Delay sometime at an event, Ako came to complain that he hugged Delay too tightly in front of Delay. That was an example Kwesi made. It's like okay, I Michelle Wahai and we hugged so. Sada she complained, sir. It's like, wait, and now Delay has to defend herself and defend Kwesi to Ako.
Okay.
Right? And then the next example Kwesi made was that there was I think it was Ghana's Most Beautiful or some event. I've forgotten the event. It was a show that he was helping promote the show, and the basis of the show is that somebody has gone to do a BBL, right? So he started by saying, person, maybe a person so and so, you are my spec like this, and you have gone to do BBL, and it was as a way to promote the show, right? But the person, he wasn't talking about the person, specifically. It was more for the show, and Ako made a huge deal about it. That's like, how can you go and sit on media and say somebody else is your spec when that person is the opposite of me? Because apparently the other person is skinny and Ako thinks she's not, right? So if you say she's your spec, then it means me, you are just playing with me and all that. So the two examples that Kwesi went on there to make made Ako come across as she doesn't understand the business, and stuff like that. And
content creator
as well, yeah. So there's this post, I don't know if you've seen it, that Kwesi keeps saying that he's a content creator as if she sells her yesu, right? But she too, she could be doing some of these things with men. And when she did one with the man, you Kwesi, you came to tell him to put that video down. So it was all so murky. Like the whole time I'm watching this video, I'm like, oh, it's just anyway. But yeah, so that's the background. I don't know what my question is, because since you haven't seen the video, honestly, it's going to be tricky, but Ako, Presidoo finally said she's learned her lesson and that her next relationship, she's not going to put on social media, and she's going to, I think she said something along the lines of she's not going to date somebody who is in the creative space, and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's the background of the video. But I didn't like it. I didn't like the way.
Why did you like it?
Yeah, I didn't like the way Delay treated Ako.
Okay.
Right, because again, Delay, the questions and her input made Delay Presidoo come across as childish. Right, so there was a part where Akosia said, like there was a video or Nitikoto, like Kwesi Nitikoto or Babi Toso, and Delay's question was, but we, didn't he come back to you? Like, what does that got
Okay.
to do with anything? Right? I'm telling you, my boyfriend is out there putting his head on women's buttocks, and you think because afterwards he came to me, I shouldn't have an issue with it, because I think it's disrespectful, right? Like if it's something that's, Kwesi has been doing, because you really can promote events and do your content without.
So what's their niche? The guy.
Oh,
What kind of content?
Kwesi does so many different things, right? Actually, I follow him. So he's one of those people. He does what's it, is it voice syncs or whatever it is with. He has a lot of videos where he is syncing with Ohinini Adajwa.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he will wear wigs or whatever it is, and like it's so spot on that if you didn't know, you probably think it's him. And he does that with other movies. I mean, with other shows and stuff like that. So he is quite funny, and so sometimes he does. He works with brands and stuff like that. So and of course sometimes he makes social content. Like social commentary on things. So that's their niche. And I think Presidoo just lives her life, and she'll make funny comments. Like she would say, some of the basic things, but she said in a way that is also funny. So that's who they are. But I feel like if you are dating somebody, it's probably not too much to ask to say, yo, kind of be careful how you put yourself out there. Of course,
Didn't they didn't
Mhm.
they talk about this before they dated? I mean, wasn't there a
Well,
conversation
Alice,
of
Alice, what do you think? I feel like you already know the answer to that.
what's
You,
appropriate?
we don't do that in our spaces. We don't do those things. We don't have those conversations before the issue happens. We don't
Okay.
do that. So I can almost tell that it wasn't something that they sat and said, maybe I will do or I won't do.
Okay.
You understand? You
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah. I think maybe the reason why I've ignored or I haven't
mhm,
dialed in is I thought they were doing content, right?
mhm,
I mean, I have some other thoughts. That's not for social media. But
mhm,
I thought they were doing content. So I thought maybe this was to promote
whatever it
each
is
of
that they're
the
doing.
brand or
Mhm,
to create um yes, because I mean between Ghana and Nigeria, you don't know what's original, what's real, and what's a joke,
mhm,
what's a skit, what like people do all sorts of things, right?
mhm.
So I didn't take them serious, but maybe now that you said that they were actually in a relationship,
When you have time, watch just 5 minutes. Like watch from the beginning when they actually show up on camera. Watch just 5 minutes. You will see on Presidoo's face that she doesn't. She isn't comfortable sitting in that chair.
so
Like
where did she go then?
it was so obvious,
Do
right?
they get paid?
I don't think so, but Delay's platform is huge, right? So they will get some mileage from it, But this kind of mileage, I feel like it's isn't healthy mileage, It's like, yeah. Kwesi actually said he didn't want to come
So then why did he go?
because I guess the producers kept asking, and he wanted to finally, because people have been asking him in his inbox and stuff like that, they're still together, and he thought, I guess we could use it as an opportunity to let the whole world know we're not together anymore, you know. But yeah.
Yeah, I think, and this is related to social media, right? I think social media is very new for all of us. I mean, I'm a millennial, so social media came when I was an adult or
Mhm.
already grown. So we are still trying to navigate it for lack of a better word. And also the young people, they are also still trying to navigate it. But I think in Ghana, the social media literacy is really down, right?
Mhm.
That I think people need education, right? People need a lot of education on how to use social media. I feel like content creators need a lot of education. And I don't know if you know how in the US people have a team. Once you become like a brand, you have
Yeah.
a PR manager, you have a
Mm,
manager, you have an agent, you have a lawyer. So like there are certain things that you just cannot come and sit or you cannot do because they'll be like, hey, this is not good for your brand, or
yeah.
you
Hmm.
don't want to do this, you don't want to say this, you don't want to um take a side. That's why sometimes people with big platforms, when things happen, we don't hear anything from them, or they don't try to take a side and all of those
Hmm.
things. Some brands will move away from you, those kind of things. But I think in Ghana, I don't know if that happens. Like I talk about Ajuati a lot. Like the things that she says, I'm like, how much are they paying you on this podcast
To be saying all of these things,
to just give this free information,
Mhm.
right? How much are they paying you for you to behave this way? And maybe also in Ghana, you have to hustle. So it's like
Yeah. And also,
commercial
honestly,
is
the
so
consequences, I think Ghana, when it comes to social media, the consequences are very little. Right?
okay.
Because this one that they've done like this, like,
I mean, next week is
I
fine.
I I am sort of disappointed because I almost felt sad for her, to be honest. But
Okay.
they'll bounce back. Their core fan base. Yeah, like we move on quickly. We
Mhm,
even the people who blatantly do disrespectful things or bad things, we
mhm.
forget and we move on, right? So sometimes I think it also has to do with the lack of consequence in our space. So
Or is it because it's not like, I mean, again, in the US, it's still being ironed out as an
mm,
industry that
right.
now even some universities have started having social media courses, or now you can
Hmm.
get a degree in it and those kind of
Right.
things. So
Hmm.
is it because in Ghana we haven't really ironed out the logistics for even for it to be recognized?
As an industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean that's legit. That's legit. We probably won't, to be honest. We probably won't iron out anything. You
Okay.
know, as a culture, we are, in as much as we are very bashing, we are also very forgiving, or more so forgetful. Like we will forget it and move on right now. Like when the issue comes fresh, they will bash you, bash you, bash you, but they will forget it and move on right now. And the
I
same
think because
person,
people don't we don't care. I think it's we don't care, we don't have empathy, we don't care about each other. To me, that's it,
hmm.
right? That we don't care. So if you do something to somebody, all that I care about is I'm going to get the views, I'm going to get the likes, then I'll move on to
Yeah.
the next,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
If somebody was hurt, if somebody's feelings was whatever, I really
Mhm.
too bad for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, but so the people who consistently hurt others, because honestly, like for example, the Agraada issue, when it
Mm-hmm.
came fresh, I think many more people recognized that, oh no, Agraada, what you did wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 years later, after making us laugh a little on social media, you see how
Mm-hmm.
the conversation has changed, almost as if we forgot what happened 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You understand? Yeah. So I think that has something to do with it, whether it's our forgetfulness. I don't know. I don't know. So because if whenever there is no consequence, because humans we like easy things, eh? So whenever our lives has there's no actual thing holding us accountable for one thing or another, we'll
Mm-hmm.
just do it anyhow. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's why Ghanaians will come and sit on TikTok because the algorithm doesn't understand our language. They will say whatever
Yeah.
it is that they want. I promise
Mm-hmm.
you, if they figure out a way for the algorithm to moderate chi, they will begin to respect themselves. Because I mean, yeah, it's our same platform that they'll be able to say, oh, don't say rape, say grape, don't say this, say that. Like on even on our platforms, they're able to do that because they know that if you don't, do those adjustments, they'll ban you or they'll take your platform down, right? But when it comes to chi, because the algorithm
Mm-hmm.
doesn't understand, we say whatever we want. So whenever there's no consequence, we throw caution to the wind, which I guess is more of a human behavior, honestly, than Ghanaian behavior. But I think we all have to be, again, kinder with each other, you know, um, and uh, I feel I really feel some type of way for Akosia, but I really hope she can ride the storm. And I don't even think, to be honest, I don't even think she is that upset by it. Like she that was portrayed that way on the interview. I don't
Yeah,
think she's upset as I am.
I
Hmm.
follow her. So I don't,
Yeah,
it's
I don't think.
interesting that I don't see anything from her.
Hmm. She
Unless
was.
maybe, I don't know.
She put a couple of things on it, and she was live yesterday. I didn't go on there, of course.
Okay.
But I honestly don't think she is as upset as I am about the interview. The interview was really weird. It was a hard watch.
So
But
in a
yeah,
way, Delay treated her differently from the guy?
between Delay and Kwesi, and honest,
Mm.
I can't say it definitely wasn't deliberate. It was just how the conversation went, right?
Okay.
It was almost as if Delay and Kwesi are more familiar with the industry and how it works, right? And
Okay.
the fact that some of these boundaries probably can't exist if you want to be in this industry, and so
Okay.
Presidoo consistently complaining about those things. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's almost unfair, right? So
Okay.
that's how kind of the dynamics played out, and
Mm-hmm.
there were aspects of it that I feel like Delay should have held Kwesi account. I mean, not should have. She doesn't have to do anything. But Kwesi had some accountability in some areas, because there was not one time that Kwesi recognized that yes, some part of it was for my job, but I probably overdid it.
Okay.
Right? It was all about Akko nags, complaints, and
Mm-hmm.
she's always complaining. And when I talk to her to not complain, she keeps complaining. It was all about when we have an issue, the next thing I know, she's on TikTok telling the whole world the issue we had, right? There was never any point where he said, but I also recognize that
What he did.
I was doing too much, like I
Okay.
also recognize that there are certain things that I didn't have to do. Like if my partner tells me I don't like it when you go out there and gush over other women, even if it's for the purpose of an advert, because I don't think the brand gave you a script. The show you were advertising for, I don't think they gave you a script, right? So you chose to call that woman your spec. You didn't have to. You probably could have found a different way to do it, right?
Somebody,
You didn't have to.
one time I saw somebody say, women are not born crazy. It is men who make women crazy. So,
We make each other crazy. But no, I hear you. We do.
but yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I saw
that
there was.
yeah,
Yeah, mhm,
women nag. I think that's old and
exactly. I mean, I was like a lot of the conversation Chrissy kept coming back to. Is one of the reasons why I say I feel bad for Presto was Chrissy would say things like, "Delay, you see you. This is how she knacks." You understand? It's like.
you broke up with her.
No, yeah, so he broke up with her, yes, about 3 weeks ago. And Delay at some point asked Akko if if she wants him back. I mean, she asked Kwesi too if Kwesi wants her back. Like if she wants him back, if she regrets their relationship, if she regrets some of the things that she did. Like,
Yeah. Why don't I know anything about this? My people, why don't I know
right?
anything about this?
This is the one time I have more Jews than you. Yeah. But yeah, I really hope that with I think a lot of our episodes, I'm hoping, encourages people to look at situations with a lot more nuance, honestly, than I get frustrated when almost any issue comes, like we pick sides. It becomes men versus women. Even when the merits of the issue doesn't require it at all, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we all have to do better as a society. Um, any final things?
I mean, yeah, I mean, next time if they should do the due diligence or whatever they call it before going into the relationship, right?
Hmm.
Talking
Yeah.
about these things. And also, if you're in a relationship, there are some things that I don't think, even if it's your job, come on, have some decorum or however they call it stuff.
Yeah, thanks. There's some things. I mean, I get it if your partner is an actor, I get it that if he's in the movie role, he'll do certain things. Now, as to how he behaves when he goes to the movie premiere with the female
Mm-hmm.
fans, that's a slightly different
Yeah.
conversation,
Yeah.
right? How he is when he's in the music video, is one thing. How he is with a woman when he's signing autographs is a slightly different conversation. You know, and to suggest that because of the job, I can, you know, it just doesn't do it for me. But
That's
also,
such an excuse.
yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, right. So thank you everyone who has watched it to this point. We will take a break and stay with us. We'll keep you informed when episode 2 is coming. Right, Alice?
Yes.
Final
Season
thoughts?
2.
Yes.
Season 2.
When season 2 will be coming, we'll keep you
Season
posted.
2. Yeah. Yeah. So all the episodes will be on YouTube. I will try and upload it, all of them, on
Spotify.
Spotify as well, so that you can have the whole season 1. Yeah, then we will plan and see what happens.
For season 2.
Yeah.
Right now, don't forget to subscribe and stick around and watch all of the great videos that Alice posts as well. And we'll see you in season 2. All right. Bye bye.